Welcome back. If you're back, if you're new, hi. Yesterday, we figured out how to initialize the game in a loop. That was really fun. And giving the game continuous input. So that was up in our main. We made our main. Oh, it's so nice. Look at this. You start the game, that sets it all up, it does all the things it needs to do, and then as long as you're playing, you can play. That's all it does. So what that ends up looking like is Ruby. This is our, you gotta tell it where to go. So it asks us a question. Nothing works. I think it actually errors because it tries to send it to the game. So if we say go north, it's like, yo, game doesn't know what go means. And then it breaks. So currently we're breaking. I could actually, if we don't send, we should be able to just keep typing forever. Oh, I want to get dagger, right? And then if we exit, we stop playing. So this is currently broken, sending the action to the game. But we can, as long as it can take the input, it'll work. Ooh, we could actually immediately add that does not computeth until, and then slowly add stuff until it works. That actually would be a good thing to do. So let's erase yesterday's goals. We did it. Those are done. Here's what we have today. So we're going to finish, hopefully. Well, yeah, finish the input parser, at least enough to get us going still. Handle global commands, I think, is probably the next easiest thing. And then the navigator. That one's going to be interesting. We have this one special case that is just stumping me. It's racking my brain. So where are we? Let's look around. Oh, we're at Dennis. So Dennis is a direction. So if we, let's start back at this. So you can go not Dennis. Currently we're in main room. If we just do look, this is the main entrance. I think we changed the name. It used to be called main. Now it's called start, I think. Go away, terminal. Standard starts. Oh, we start at not Dennis. So I named that room not Dennis. That's what it is, right? That's the only time you ever talk to it is you say not Dennis. So if we actually collapse the items, we have a Dennis room, which only goes not Dennis. We have a south room that only goes north. We have a north room. Those are all nice, I think. And then, but not Dennis can go a bunch of ways. So is there a way without using coordinates that we can just use the names of the rooms? And I don't know if we can. This is the tricky one because there needs to be a little bit of title text in front, depending on if you came from the south or the north. In front of this, you find yourself in yon dungeon. Watch. So that's the main text when you just look. But if I go south, you head south, okay. But then if I go back north, watch what it says. You go north, you find yourself in yon dungeon, okay. And then if we go north again, you go north through the corridor. We already have that. That's already in here. You go north. But now watch. If we go south, you go south, back through yon corridor, and then it repeats. So that's a little special case. That'll be in a to-do. Handle. I said room descriptions. Well, it's also handle navigation specific. What is that called? Intro in not Dennis room. So I originally thought we could just navigate with names. Like we could go from not Dennis to north and that would work. But it doesn't quite work, right? Because if we go north and the only exit is south, I think I've said this before, but we don't want to go to the south room here. We want to go to not Dennis. So our current south is not Dennis. It's not the actual south room. So these names are meaningless. because it's all relative, right? It's where depends where you're at, whether it's the north room or the north or the south, right? So that's when I had this idea with chords, and then we could have a navigator that just knows when I say go north, that means up 1 on my Y. If I go south, that just means go -1. So this is their absolute position. It'll be 0, -1. So we could actually, if we wanted to have the game spit out the map, and it could draw, with if we gave these better names, it could draw the name of the room and then where it's at on the map. But in this case, here's where it gets a little sticky. Dennis is not a real direction, right? It's not a cardinal direction or whatever a compass is called. It's not north, east, south, west. So we would have to, make it up. So let's say Dennis is west. That means not Dennis has to be east. And that means our navigator has to know that. So I think that's where I had this idea of building a custom navigator. Oh my gosh, another custom thing. It'll probably work, right? Because again, same thing with the parser. There might be the case where we have a standard navigator, and your game might need to go northwest, or might need to have just go up, go down, right? It might need to handle some of those navigations. So maybe it makes sense to also include a navigator, and maybe what eventually there could just be like a list of navigators that you can choose from. That like this is clearly the Dungeon Man one that has like Dennis as a direction, but then there could be a real standard one that has north, east, south, and west. That would probably be smarter. And then then there's the full compass navigator that has the in betweens. So we could do something like that where you can pick from a list. Maybe there'll be a preset list that we'll make eventually. I don't know. I do like making the standard one that does north, east, south, and west, and then making one off of that maybe, or that. Since this is the only thing we have, I'm just going to call it standard for right now. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think handling global commands will be a little more fun because we can start seeing stuff in the game. We can start typing get dagger or go blah blah blah, and it'll error and stuff. So let's do that. That sounds more fun than being stuck. So input parser. Our standard parser, kind of squeaked a little bit, standard. The standard parser does, I think it does everything. I did it again. I just woke up. It's really early. My voice is cracking and stuff. It's a little deeper. Can you tell? So I think the input parser does everything we need. It just splits on the command. It takes the first thing, no matter what it is, and that's your action, and then spreads out the rest. So if you typed a whole bunch of words, that becomes your object, which actually I thought was going to be a problem for like just saying north, but that totally works. You can just say north as the command, and that becomes the action. So we just need to make sure that the navigator or the game knows that that's a valid action. And that totally works. So I kind of don't, I mean, this is the one that breaks because this is actually what happens is we get not Dennis. So we'd have to make it so the game knows that not is not really a command, and we really need not Dennis. And then we wouldn't have to change the parser, or we could change the parser to have some special, right? Some special case, which just feels icky. I don't know. So I'm gonna comment that out because I don't know if that should work the way it does. This is the way that we really would want it to work, but that breaks the test right now. So that does work. So let's say the parser is good, or let's say the parser is good for now. We're gonna move. We don't need main at the moment. So the thing that breaks right now, I'm going to say we did it. We checked. We convinced ourselves that it's done. Huzzah. So the first thing we need to do is tell the game how to respond when it doesn't know how to respond. Ooh. If we look at, man, I need to work on my uhs. If we look at the general commands, where is the, there is a, that does not computeth is the is the generic response. There it is. It's the empty one. So when you ask something it has no idea about, it does not computeth. And that actually is the same like if you do a look command with, or it does this more, it does this where is it? Yeah. It does it a lot, but we'll just have it. It'll be the most generic. I don't know how to do this. Some of these, right, will need to trickle down, and then it can only respond with that once it knows it doesn't know what that is, right? So look is one. Look will have to look in the room first, check if the room has anything that is named that. If it doesn't, it'll have to check its items, and then it'll have to check its NPCs, and then check its NPCs for items that might look at that, right? So we have in one case, I think it's on the Dennis case, right? So where are we? Let's go Dennis. So in the Dennis room, there is no decoration. There is a Jimber Jam, but that is that an item on Dennis, or is that a room, right? So I think we can look Jimber Jam, and that, man, that art a nice Jimber Jam. So that does work. So, our game would have to go room. Do you have a Jimber Jam? No. Okay. Items. Are any of my items a Jimber Jam? No. Okay. Dennis, do you have any items named a Jimber Jam? And then it would say, oh yeah, I do. Right. So we'd have to trickle all the way down to get to that. And then some of them, right? Some work without a object. Look just repeats the area description. Help repeats. So those might be a little tricky. Dying is something special because it ends the game. It asks you to play again, and then also subtracts 100 points from your score before it prints it, right? So let's do the easy ones. Easiest. This is the easiest, I think. I hope. And then we'll start doing like stuff that doesn't affect you, like these. And then maybe we'll do stuff that actually has a point that adds points, because then that means it needs an actual action. It needs to do something, not just print something. So that's special. Oh yeah, this one will be easy too. Smell. So let's try it. See what we can do here. So we start sending. What's the dumbest way we can do this? So I had an idea. This was my like, well, the dumbest thing we could do, but least the least what's the word I'm looking for here? The least modular, the least flexible, that's the word. The least flexible would be to make explicit methods for each of these things, right? So if we wanted to dance, we would have to define a method called dance that did the thing, and it would have to print those words, right? Whatever's in the dance command. We could totally do that. That makes our game very specific to this game, right? So it kind of undoes a lot of it. This whole idea of building the game from the config, because now we've got code that is very specific to our dungeon man. So that is actually the dumbest thing we could do, which we might need to do just to figure out how it should all work and then put it in the config. It felt like giving up, so I just didn't want to admit complete defeat and go straight to that. So I wanted to figure out a way when we build the game from the config, if I had like a list. I know I said, well, we had commands before. I don't think I need a command object, but I think this might be what we do. So my thought is when we initialize, where are we? Config, probably here from config. Could do it in the initializer. I mean, there's no reason actually. There's no real reason to even make from config do this. How often do we game new? This is kind of like a factory method. That's what we would call this, right? It builds another object. It does make it nice when you have to do some special things to insist on using the factory to make sure something's set up right. Because if we tell other users of this code, oh yeah, just game new, they don't know all the extra stuff you have to do to get the game to work, right? Or if we make the initializer do all this, it's kind of lying because that's like, I mean, is that what an initializer should do? Should it create this object and then a whole bunch of other ones? Like that seems maybe a little icky. This keeps it so the initializer of a game is all it does. I guess it does create a player, but we're injecting it, so maybe not. That would be maybe another good reason to put this back into from config, right? So we could have all initialize does is like sets config, and that could be it. Anyway, since we have the pattern, I'm going to do it here. So the idea would be config commands dot each, and I think we get a key value command. I'll call it, what are these words? It's the name and then the action, the thing that you do. Oh, it's kind of confusing two ideas. We already have action as the thing. Action, what we have right now, action is, in our parser at least, action is go, object is thing. Name, in this case, could be go, get, help, right? Sure. Object or result, action result. Ooh, I like that. Result. Sure. So with Ruby, it's a little neat trick we can do. We can define methods dynamically and make them all right here. So we can, where I was going to have to hard code die, help, get, right? We can just do that dynamically using this commands hash. Should this be called actions? Probably. That's what we're calling them everywhere else. Let's do that. So the easiest one, or let's do none, right? We got to handle nothing. Ooh, how do we handle nothing? Some empty. Interesting. Right, because there needs to be at here. If we send an action you don't know, it falls all the way through our action flow. Eventually, oh, we could rescue. Ooh. Is this gross? Is it no method error? Let's see. Puts hi. Well, that was easy. Oh, broke my exit. Oh, because now it's trying to send. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we need to return unless action or action equals exit. Right, that's a special case. So if we say go north, hi, Hey, hey. Return. Oh, if. Whoops. Go north. Okay. And then we want to exit. Boom. So before the game gets it, or we can even define exit on the game, which is a noop, and then it will get through. Because I think when we set action, where does the input? Oh yeah, play. So parse is going to get called. Input was already set in memory to exit, so it just needs to get through parse. You could argue that you shouldn't even get to parse if the actions exit, right? Like that, you could say this could make more sense. Return if input equals exit. Does that work? Go north. Yeah. Oops. That's probably better. That puts it's like a control command for the game that puts it kind of in that play loop. I think that makes more sense. So what's our global error state? We should have that right here. Right. Bunk. Okay. That does not computeth. Type help if thou needs of it. So how do we do? Okay, that one was easy, but how do we do the next ones? Oh, I need that. So the hard part is we need to reverse. We need to depth first, ask questions, and then come back up instead of stopping, right? Because if we ask the game first for get thing or look thing, it'll just hit the fallback. It'll be like, oh yeah, we have to check the rooms first, then we have to check each thing first, and then fall back to the game at the very end. So those will be a little more complicated. So let's do the easy ones. Let's do dance. I know dance should be easy. Dance is this, and you get no points for it. You just dance. And then there was another one. Okay, well we can do this. Here's where it gets tricky, right? Do we do this? I think we need to. I think it needs to have the command, and then that needs to say, do I have that thing? Because that's how we were doing items. Oh, we were using name. It had a get and the name. Okay. So does that go in items? Does that go in the game's items? It could, right? The game itself could have items. We might have to change how this works. I was actually thinking about this. Should each item or each room have a similar? It probably needs to have a similar list of actions, and then inside the list of actions, right, we have get, and then it has this same kind of layout where instead of using a name, we just have the key of the thing, and then maybe, right, how we have score and description, it would look more like this. So let's see. Actions. And so we can say look. And if you have nothing, it would be like the room description. But if you said look, scroll, it would say this. And then you'd have another thing that says get. don't know. I just thought of this. This could be a total terrible idea. Right, that's going to be the main description. It's mad at me because quoting and probably, yeah, okay. And then so scroll. Oops, I copied that. Nice. Ooh, that does mess up our want of asking for it. That adds some additional trickiness. But that's an idea, right? So there could be something like this, and then we could dynamically, right? So we go through actions. So when a room gets made, from the config, same kind of thing that we're doing with the game, it goes through its action hash, sets methods for each action, and then kind of has to build. Whoa! It kind of has to build like the conditional based on its hash. It's a little complicated. I think I'm giving myself an extra challenge by trying to make this work for typing whatever I want here, because you're basically, you're coding it into the config, right? This is like I'm programming in the config instead of in the game. So it may not end up being that useful, right? You'll end up with this config that's like its own programming language, and you have to like know it to make the game. But I don't know, maybe that's cool. Maybe this is simpler than like knowing how to code Ruby. You can just like, oh yeah, if you just, these are commands you can make. You can leave empty ones for like defaults. Oh, we could probably call it default. Right, that would be this whole thing. So like it could be kind of cool. It does get a little tricky. I don't need that. It does get a little tricky when getting the scroll needs to do stuff, because right now it's just going to print. So what it really needs to do is have a score modifier, and then it needs to have the result. Right? So that's what it really needs. So when you do anything, you may or may not get points from it. So there could be this idea that everything you do, look, getting, dancing, whatever it is, can modify your score in some way. Then in that case, we could make them all kind of look the same. Now the tricky part about that is, or the tricky part about this current layout is when we have multiple ones. How do we do that? Because if we only have one scroll, we could make this is getting crazy. What if when it knows there's multiple, I don't even know how. Okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. I'm like trying to get to the hardest of problems. That's an idea. I'm going to hold on to that. This was our old idea. It may be a bad one. I think these all make more sense to be called like what they are. I think we're going to get into that. We're going to get ourselves into that situation pretty quick. Where were we at? We were at dance. Ugh. Go back. Come on. Dance was easy. Get dagger is harder because it's too. I think look. We can start doing the default ones. Those have to ask the room, right? All three of these have to ask whatever room you're in. So current room. Look. Oh, it should know it should know where its location is. We don't even have that. That we have a start. The game should definitely know its current. Where do we encode starting? Did we turn that off? It's in the config. I think I pulled it out because I was like, it's dumb. It's in the config. Just use that. So we should say current location, current frame. You can name this whatever you want, right? This could be current room. Since we have this idea of rooms, current room. Let's do that. So our current room is the config start. Is it the start? Start was a name. That's not going to work. I think we know that that's not going to work. We might need to give it chords. Okay. Getting so distracted. That's navigation stuff. I keep going back to the spec for some reason, like it's where my where the README is. Okay, dance, easy. Oh, smell. Yeah. Those will be okay. Nice easy one. Like it. So in this case, smell. You smell a wumpus. What is a wumpus? And just to make it easy, I'm sure we could like make alias commands or something, but I'm just going to do it this way because refactor, get it working, right? Get it doing anything, and then make it pretty after that. That does not, we handle that in a does not computeth, talk something, give something. Okay, die is the only other one that is just text. It does need to do something, but it's a single command. So I think it's very close to being the same. Oops. Right, because that's actually all it is. Oh yeah, and then we can. Does the player have a score? He does. Score is his score plus his item score. We need a writer for score. So you can get items, you can add to the score. That will not change your items scores. Okay. So that should output a 0. It would be really neat if we could, okay, let's do that next. I'm getting ahead always. Okay, does this, we didn't actually code it. We got to code it. Okay. So for each action, we're going to define method action. Is that how that works? Ruby define method. It's not something I actually do that much. It's usually maybe even frowned upon because it's really hard to grep for, because when you see a method, when something responds to a message, you expect there to be like def that thing. So when you're looking for it, you usually look for like def Fred, right? In this case, why? It got small again. Usually you're looking for this signature of def than the thing. So when someone uses one of these, you usually get mad at them. But this is a framework, so we're allowed to do that kind of icky stuff. Yeah, so we can define the method and then in a block say what that thing does. Oh, what are you mad at? Oh, so the result right? We would have to code here, print that thing. This is where the idea of everything having an action or everything having a score and like its result could come in handy because, right? So if we do it to these, so score for this, you get 0 points, and the result, is the result always a print? Like we would need to like eval that starts to make it so that you're actually programming in the config. I don't think we want to do that. Result could be, or maybe we do. Maybe you got to know a little bit of Ruby. You just have to know to print the thing. Right. This will work if we, like, we could do stuff. We could do some crazy stuff. That's kind of cool, actually. Like here, then you could do whatever you want. But then now you know Ruby. So, let's try. Let's see how far we get with just this idea of a score and a result. I was going to say, Kevin, you should come in here and tell me what to do. How you handle getting the object. You right? Yeah, it needs to do all that. That's where the items, so yeah, increase score, right? It needs to do a couple things. The idea with this like items list is the room would start with it, and then however you got it, I didn't think that far, but however you got it, we would like pop this item off of the room array, and then add it to the person, add it to the player, and then it would slowly like the first time it made this part really neat because if the first time you do it, you get a 2, you get 2 points, but then the second time you do it, you get -1 point because it's gone. Like you dummy, it's gone. Like you can't do that. But the hard part after that is that this, you can keep doing it infinitely and you keep minusing points. So they're like, I hadn't figured that out yet, but like this one needed to stick and not get added to your inventory because, so maybe that idea fell apart or falls apart right there because it would be too many details for, oh, you can get this item, but you can't get this item. And so I was trying to figure out, and then some things, I had an idea of like decorations, right? Because there are some items, not the flask, but like the rope. Oh yeah, you can take the rope. It kills you. Where is it? Is it just in the main room? There's a room that has parapets, and you can just look at them. You can't actually get them. Oh, yeah. You go north through the corridor, you arrive at parapets. You can, oh, yeah, right here. I missed it. It was tiny. So here, you can get the rope. You get -1, and then you die. The parapets you can only look at. You can't get them. So what I was going to do was, use the knowledge that this item doesn't have get defined, and that tells you that it is just a decoration. But I think this idea is better. I think having specific looks and gets, I don't know, because it does break apart the, right? Because now we're not actually asking the scroll anything. We're just like using this command list, which is kind of just a sneaky way to hide all these conditionals in message sending instead. Right? Because really what we should be doing is like when you look in the room says, do I contain, I guess just items, right? Do I have any items that match that description? And if you looked at it, you get, and then the item returns its description or its look, or if you try to get it, it does another thing. That's what I wanted, but I don't know if that will work with this, or it's hard to see how that will work given the like I want it all to exist in a config world, and not have like where does the logic live? Like how does the game know to add it to your right? Like there has to be some things that the game. I guess there has to be the logic of the game has to maybe be there has to be some shared logic between all types of whatever these games may be, right? So getting items, looking at stuff. Maybe that's not special to Dungeon Man, and maybe that is just true of all games. And then we can hard code that kind of stuff, right? If we like, put our foot down and say, yeah, you can't get items a different way. That's not this is just a basic text adventure framework. You're not like doing anything crazy. Then we can, if we can convince ourselves that that's what we want, if I can convince myself that's what I want, I guess, then we can just start hard coding methods and doing all that message sending. And maybe that's better. Maybe that's a better way to start, and then start pulling stuff like, ooh, that looks configurable. I can pull that out. Maybe starting it in the config is making it hard to see what APIs we actually need. Anyway, that was a tangent, but good question. You're right. It is gonna be hard. Because what does dying do? Die. Nope. Dying subtracts 100 points. So the idea, if we were sticking with this, but then right, like, how do we start? How does it know to start the game over after this message is sent? Right after the result, it wouldn't know. We'd have to put that in a post action, post result. We'd have to start like adding all these hooks, which could be really cool. Like it totally could be the right thing to do, but it's just hard to see it right now. So I don't feel terrible about going back to starting to hard code things in the game. Now that we've kind of explored this a little bit, I'm seeing how difficult it may be. Right? Get dagger, right? If continuing down this path, this is what it would look like. Right, we'd have, okay, just to get this to go away. Oh, I already have quotes. Right, so going down this path, now we would have this like crazy nested structure of like the action, and then some of these need, right, like these are all single commands, but and then like, yeah, because then sniff something actually goes into the default error message. Oh yeah, that should be in the config. Why don't you tell me? Ugh. Error. Action error, whatever. Prompt. Yeah, that's cool. Where was I saying? Oh yeah, because like sniff something or smell something actually goes to the error. So we might need to rescue, since these don't expect any arguments. Get will expect an argument. Ooh. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Yeah, I don't know. We could try it. I'm commenting this out still. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, because then you can, I mean, that whatever file you make, right, that you like, that's how you build the game. You can, put it in any, any app that can parse the JSON and know what to do with that stuff. it makes the footprint of the engine smaller, but it does make the config um, definitely more complicated and maybe a little too like it's almost pseudocode, right? You're like, yeah, but that's kind of the. I guess it depends who the target audience is for the config. Who can make this config? Because originally in my brain, I was like, that would be cool if I could like give this to one of my kids and be like, all right, here's the stuff. Here are the things that you need to, tell the computer what the error should be, what the actions are, right? Sure, it'll take them a little while to get it, and it's maybe needs a help doc, but like there's so little code that they could probably do it without. I mean, they do know how to code a little bit, but they could even do it just by writing sentences, right? You're just writing sentences and scores, and the game handles all the rest. Like, how cool would that be? Or is it for someone like, someone like us who's like, oh, I can make a game and the engine's already there, but I do need to add a little bit. I need to add a proc here to like tell it to print this thing, right? And that's like, I'm fine with that. Like, cool. But that pins this very much to that's a Ruby only config, right? You can't put that in React or anywhere else. You'd have to say, pass a function to this, which could be the right, like any of the results in whatever language you use. You could say this takes a function or a block or whatever you want to call it, but it needs to be callable, or it needs to be right. Like obviously per engine that would change, but yeah. Okay, let's just see if this works. I'm curious to see just if we can get. Oh darn it, I broke it. We got to do it this way now. So dancing. So dancing gives you no score and you get the result. Right now we just need to print it. It needs to, every action has a score ability. How do you define a method, actually, that takes an arg? There it is. Oh, yeah. Cool. That's cool. Oh, man, Ruby's so cool. Okay. So if there are no args, define method, if there are no args, does that work still? Print result. If there are args, it needs to do something, but we don't have that. We don't have that yet. Yeah, I know. Okay. Let's just see. Oh. Wait, what? Oh. Oh. Of course. This needs to be, you can't do that. It needs to be like a template string that we have to parse later. That was the same thing. I ran into wanting these to be dynamic. Like I'd have to have my own before the result gets printed, we'd have to look for those brackets or whatever and then do a swap right there. So I'm not going to do that just yet because that adds a lot. I'll just leave it like that. Okay. So what should work? Dance should work. Smell, sniff. So smell. You smell a wampus. Okay, okay, hold on. Oh, it needs to do a put so that it doesn't, so it new lines. Result is not the result. The result is the score and the result. So that needs to, I think there's a way to destructure something like this in Ruby. I think you just use parens. Does that work? Kevin will tell me if I'm wrong. So we could do something like player.score plus equals score. Okay, so we want to dance. Oh no! Hash cannot be coerced into integer. Oh, score is still the hash. Okay, that doesn't work. I know there's a way. I can't remember what it is. So what is a score and a result put together? It's the action. I'm just going to call it object, even though that might be a loaded word. I'm sorry. Yep. Player score is object score. Oh yeah, because that's now we've gotten out of our. Now we don't have an object for that thing. So maybe when we build, we're building the game. Should this be? This should be a command, right? I know you're thinking it. This should be a command. The command has a score or and it has like all the stuff that the command can do. Yep, that's good. Yep, okay. Let's do dance. Yeah. And then oh, it'd be cool to like inspect my player score from here. I should like print it somewhere so I can just always see it. Where's our prompt? I want to see the score change because that will be fun. Prompt, yeah. Oh no. Yeah, so in the prompt, where are we new lining? In here I was new lining. Is that right? Yeah. Since we have a caret there, I feel like it makes more sense to do right? Then it'll just be there or nothing. And then, oh, but we don't always want a new line. Maybe that's what it was. So if there is a prompt, do the prompt in the new line. I'm like so distracted. I was in the middle of, I just want to see the player. Just want to see the score. Score. That's all I want. I want to see the player score, new line it, with a caret, with a space. Yes. If there is a prompt, show it. Otherwise, you're just going to see a score option, I guess. Dance. There needs to be 2 spaces. There needs to be a space above the prompt. That's fine. I don't care. There's going to be a description above that, right, for each room or whatever, or like the intro. Oh, yeah. We can actually code that in really quick. Got to refresh. Oh, no, it's right here. We don't have a main screen. Oh, that's the room. Where's the main? Okay, it's going to hurt my ears, but stop it. Okay, beyond the main screen. Yeah, that part. Thy dungeon man, you are thy dungeon man. So that's like our intro. prompt intro dungeon man, thy dungeon man. New line. You are the dungeon man. They don't have it's all caps. It should be all caps. It's all caps. Ugh. I don't know why I was changing it. You are thy dungeon man. 2 bangs? 3 bangs? 1 bang. Why did I think there was 2? And then new line. That gets us space. And then here's the intro. And then there's always this like fixed height. It's always at the bottom. But since we're in just like terminal, I don't know how to do that yet. So play, while playing, play, prompt. We need to do like print intro unless, right, we've already played it. So we could do that. Prompt, is that LMNOP? I don't know. The game will keep track of this, maybe? What happens if you print? That should work because that's the result of that. Yeah. Scene. Intro scene. Introed. Introed? Are you introed? I don't know why I like that, but I do. What is our intro? It's the config intro. That's all prompt is, right? Oh yeah, prompt has like the extra stuff. Where was I? Intro. Intro ed. Is that how that works? It's pretty cool. Dance. What else we got? Okay. We can smell. We can sniff. Those work. Ooh, now we can die. The score worked. Let's die again. Oh, yeah. So, adding to a score, removing from a score. Okay. Do we dare try to get a dagger and have it add it to our inventory? That sounds scary. How would that work, right? So we define the method get on ourselves. We need to do, So we would do this for every room. We could actually, oh man. Depending how we laid this out, we actually could kind of mimic the item's behavior of having an array, right? So we could, for each for each get scroll. How would that work? I'm trying to think of, would this need to be an array? Would this need to be an array? But if we have two separate loops generating the commands, that starts to get tricky. Because, right, do I generate two scrolls? One for the look and one for the get? Okay, that won't work. So I think get might need to be hard coded to the game's main logic, right? And the not the room, but in this case the game has items. And it has a dagger that never ends. I'll just put like 999 as the item count. If you get to the end and it blows up, then you win, right? You can if you break the game, that's a little Easter egg for you. So I think, right, this would make it so we could have a global list of items. There would be a dagger in it. That's not how that's going to work. It needs to be a name. I don't know. Right, it'll look something like this. You go new. Just go back. So it could look like that, and then we could say like count a million. Like how many do I have? Oh, but that's the hard. In this case, we could do something like that because it's the same result every time. Uh-oh. Kevin has ideas. This might not be relevant now, but he's my brain dump JSON for the idea of effects. I think you're still typing. Or are you posting it somewhere? Oh, you're not allowed to post links. You got to be a VIP to post links. And I don't know how to do that. Oh, brother. Yeah, I'll have to look at it later. I can add you as you in Twitch, you have to have a certain number of followers /hours /something to be able to have VIPs that you can let send URLs. Okay. He just texted it to me. I'm going to open it up. Could be a virus. So, items, scroll, actions, look, effects. So the items. Okay, yeah. So a room has an item. It just has a name. You look through your items, a global items list for the name. Also has the name, maybe for printing. Actions. Hold on, I can't see. Oh, okay. On get actions. Okay. He said look effects. Look effect is wrong. Focusing on get actions. Okay. So get effects, the effect, add value, add item, remove item. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. These would be, and then, so the list of anything in the effect list is something the engine knows how to do, right? That's something that you would like, the game has defined on it, or room, I guess, or yeah, here's the target. So like, add value, score. That would actually, maybe the target would be player, like add score. Target could be player, then you know what you're talking to. But yeah. But like how else, right? Like unless you give me a block, sorry, show the chat. It is verbose, but it does make it really flexible because then instead of needing like a proc that has multi lines that I do stuff, you can describe all that in this little format here. That's really neat. We might have to steal that. Thanks, Kev. Too far. So we'll have to come back to. I'll have to come back to multi-step, multi-layered things. Items. Oh yeah. So we were deciding which commands. Right. These are kind of custom. Die, smell, sniff. But like get and look. Maybe get and look, and those are something we can hard code, and like that always exists. You can't not use get, right? If that effect array gets us out of that could work, but I have to think about it a little bit. So we do handle global commands. I think if we die something, let's check that. If I try to die, I don't know where the game was. Okay. So if I try to smell thing, you smell a wampus. I think that should break according to Dungeon Man's rules. Right? Oh, it's because I think our args, the args allowance is like, I'll take any args. And since there are none, it doesn't error. So I think if we got rid of this, not all of it, just the args part. Now when that method gets defined, it does not allow arguments. And it should error. Yeah. So then we could rescue an argument error. This is probably the bad way to do this. Right. So just rescue, method error, argument error. It would be nice to know when, because we can't really rely. I have to handle arguments, so I can't really rely on that. Or maybe we can. Because all the other ones that take args are the global ones, like look, get, take, all that. But then that would make this work, right? Smell, Kevin. That does not computeth. Help doesn't do anything yet. Oh yeah, did we? Yeah, I made the mistake that I did in my C++ version. We need to normalize this before we do it. So the action, we define the method from this list. When we send it, it needs to be downcased. Where are we sending? Action dot downcase to sim. Dance. Now nothing computeth. Is it downcase? Oops, I don't have Rails. IRB. Dance. Is it? Yeah. The parser. How about the parser does that for me? The parser should do all of this. What am I? Right? That sounds right. Like give me the action ready to go. Why are you making me do work? Yeah, that makes this. Oh yeah, I didn't even handle upper or lower. Did I thought I made a test for that, but I totally didn't, I guess. So this becomes go. And then it's north, like that. You're not allowed to run specs while you're in a terminal, or while you're in a Rails console, Ruby console, with separate commands, context, handles, all casing. I could have sworn I did this already, but it should probably normalize. Ooh, it should probably normalize the object too. That way we know what we're talking to. Standard join. Does that work? Can you downcase a full? This is a thing. Yeah. Cool. Exit. Boom. Done. Okay. So fix the parser, makes that look a little bit nicer. Let's go back into the game. Now we can say dance. What? What am I doing here? Oh. Yeah. This action coming from the actions is just dance. So that defines, and yeah, I don't even think you can. That defines dance. Let's see what the heck is going on here. Dance. Why are you lying to me? Is it a symbol? Class? What are you? Dance. You're a symbol. Are we getting... Let's see what error we're actually getting, because I think we're getting an error, so what are we getting? Dance. Wrong number of arguments, given 1, expected 0. Oh, because there is stuff in the object. Right? Oh. Is that what's happening? But there are no args. What are the args? We're passing it args. Let's see what's in object. It is nothing, but it maybe is something, right? We're passing it nil. Dance, because this doesn't work either. No, you. It's an empty string. Okay. So the argument error strategy isn't going to work for us because it needs to just handle whatever is there, right? Whether it's empty or nil or something. I think we'll need to have it. Just make sure that works still. Okay. And smell. And smell. And smell thing. So that's what's currently broken. Smell on a thing shouldn't work, and it does. So we need to be able to tell or are we just doing this the whole wrong way? If we go smell, right? Is smell similar to, I mean, in this case, smell is a global thing. I think you can smell in any room. So maybe that's special to this game. But should, like in the global thinking, should smelling actually be something that happens same thing as get or look? Is it go, okay, does my room have any items that smell like this or have this thing, right? Is there an item called thing, or if we smell Kevin, is there an NPC called Kevin? Does that NPC have items that is called Kevin, or do any NPCs have an item called Kevin? Does the room have an item? And so forth, right? That same kind of loop that look and get need to do to just figure out, is that thing there? Because we're kind of cheating a little by just stomping on it from the top. Because we know that nothing else smells, right? So we have some like hidden knowledge that maybe is making this work when it shouldn't. I don't know. I think there should be commands that the game maybe knows that are secret, that aren't global, or that don't need to be passed down. Like, I know that dancing doesn't need to check every single person, or does it? Right? Like, I guess you could make a game where like you want to have custom commands. The room could dance, the player could dance. You could say dance with Kevin or dance Kevin, and then you guys could dance. Or just, say dance when you're in the room with Dennis, and then something funny would happen, right? We arrive at Dennis. What happens if we dance? Yeah. So, but if you wanted that to happen, if you wanted dance to then get sent to Dennis, the NPC, we can't do that right now because we're like the game top level is taking over. So that does put a little wrench into that, and but maybe that's fine. I do like that idea of like effects that have, right? There are only so many things you could do. You can add a score, you can, and if you add a negative score that's subtracting, you could move items. This is probably way too tiny for anyone to see. This idea is pretty nice. The game knows how to do those 5 things. And the target could be any object the game knows about. Yeah, that we might need something that is that verbose, but lets us kind of handle this situation. Okay. Would you say we're handling global commands? I think we know how to handle global commands. It's sending them down to the rest of the thing that we don't know how to do. So let's take a break from commands that need to go. Let's figure out maybe navigation. Let's start on it, I think. So I'm gonna commit what we have. Oh, stuff is broken. Are our tests broken, or we need to add a test from config? Ooh, we do need to add a test for this. Args are currently unused. If you just underscore, or yeah, if I do, yeah, I need that there. I think, or that should work. Since are we not rescuing? We're not rescuing method. What happens? I think this is what breaks. Dance. Yeah. If we do that. Oops. Yeah. We need to. Oh yeah, and we added intro. And introed. Okay, so game needs a little bit of love. From config. Parse, play. Okay. So we need to describe intro. We also changed what prompt does a bit. That's going to break a little bit. Introed, question mark. Okay. Context, actions. Actually, it's more like a double describe. Describe. Can you describe inside of describe? Describe actions. No, I would do that in context, I think. It. So we expect like game dot whatever to work. Yeah, so we expect game dot dance. We could do send config actions. Is this a gross way to check this? If we send the first action to expect, this could be the subject. Oh no. We need to call the subject. Actually, before. And then we can expect a game to exist. Then we can expect that action to not raise error. No method. That's what we expect. Is that what happens? First try? Never happens. Okay. So if we don't rescue and we don't do that, the spec should fail. I should have tested this before. Oh, what's inside config actions? One. Oh, I need to grab the first. Oh, it's not the first key. It's actions dance. Okay, well, if I'm doing that, I might as well just send dance. I thought I could like not have to know. Since the config is using the Dungeon Man config, I think it's fine to know. Oh, I might have just had it. Yeah. This should break. Double. It broke for the wrong reason. Expect not to raise risks false positive since literally, oh yeah, this message makes you feel really dumb, I think. Yeah, meaning the code you're intending to test may not even get reached. Instead, consider expect not to raise error or expect to raise. Okay. Oh, subject. I can't. Oh. If I have an instance from the config, I'm not really testing from config though. I made a change inside from config, wherever you are. Why are you even down there? These are, I put them at the bottom. Weird. I made a change in from config, but I don't have access to this game yet. So how do I do that? The subject, this will be the game at the end. Oh, so it's just subject. Whoa. I think. Okay, we got wrong number of arguments. Oh, if we don't do any of this code first, don't do any of that. Now we should get no method error, undefined dance. Perfect. So now we can do that. So it shouldn't raise a method error, but it will raise an argument error. Given 0, expected 1. Because apparently dance now always sends an empty string. That was something I actually maybe didn't want the parser to do. If this is empty string, that's maybe confusing. Should it be nil? It should probably be nil. Dot empty. If this is empty, just send nil instead. Herb. Right, if it's empty, send nil. Otherwise, ew. Is that any better? What does that get us? So passing nil, passing nil still counts as passing something. Nil is something. How fun. So in order for the test to work, I have to call dance with something, even if it's nil, which feels really, really icky. I hate that so much. So maybe that's trying to tell me something, right? Maybe it's trying to tell me that this is not a great way to handle the situation. Because it should, right? What actually should happen is if you try to dance with something, that actually should error. Dance Kevin. 2 raise error. But I don't, right? Well, if I do, oh yeah, that one worked. And we expect dance Kevin to raise an error, but it didn't. And I don't know how to raise it if I don't expect it. Because object and result, if this is empty, yeah, I think that we might need to rethink that a little bit. Kevin asks, can we give the argument a default value of nil while we're defining it? Well, that's cool. Okay, so that solves our passing nil in the test. Thank you, Kevin. We still need to know how to not work when we get a Kevin. So there needs to be something describing that, you can't die something or and maybe that's the shape, right? Like like get dagger. Yeah. I'll have to think about that a little more. I think it's close. I think it'll have to be something with either pulling those out into those global effects, like here are all the things the game knows how to do, or something else. But currently drawing a blank on it. Let's move. I want to move to nav for a second and just see how hard that is, if we can get anywhere with it. I was working on specs. Does this work? Yep. It won't break, so that's good. We know that. Oh yeah, intro. I think intro is the same as prompt, right? Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah, I guess it needs to handle. I mean, if there's no intro, it's just going to be empty, right? Yeah, it's just going to do nothing. It does need to set intro to true, so we can check that. So should I make the config? I think I don't need to override the config. I think we've got it in there. What? Why did you copy nothing? So let's intro, and then it is expected to equal config intro. It's pretty easy. I think that works. And then we expect the instance variable to change. So if we call it, we need to say it expect subject to change game.introde. We don't have, since we don't have an actual accessor for it, I'll just check introde from false to true. We don't have a game, it's described instance. Okay, so that works. Checks everything it needs to check. Introde is pretty easy. Should just be when it's false, it's false. When it's true, it's true. Is expected to equal config equal false. So we'll say context before or when intro not called, it's expected to be false. One too many. When intro called before described instance dot intro Now it's going to be true. Run it. Works it. Okay. Easy peasy. Intro works. Introed works. We're testing actions a little bit, maybe. I don't know. You could, parse or prompt is different now. Oh, play is different. Okay. That one's easy. We moved that into play. Okay. Prompt is a play, and prompt need also some attention. Oh yeah, we need to set. Prompt. How do we break in prompt? What did we do? We added score.
Hello there.
Hello there. Oh, Wasim. Hi. I think I know you. It scared me. Did it play? I thought I fixed it. So it should have played a noise. Distracted me. Oh, do we want to leave the score in? I kind of like it right now, even though it's not a part of the real game, but I think I like it for debugging at least. So I'm going to leave it for right now. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to copy it. Hey. It's funny. I think I need to chat back. Like you're not going to see it unless I say something in chat. You can hear me and see me. Yeah. Thanks for being here. It's like stream number 4, I think, on building this thing. So starting to hit the complicated bits, starting to hit the interesting bits of parsing stuff and handling all the commands and so yeah, it's getting fun. Did that work? Oh, when there is no prompt, we still show the score. I'm going to show it. Let's just copy you, huh? I think it'll be helpful to, instead of having to like constantly inspect if things are affecting the score, we'll just see it every time we type something. That'll be nice. Okay, prompt is good, easy. And then play had a change. I think, oh yeah. It expected prompt or print, but we need to expect the intro first. Is that right? What happened? We expected it one time, but it never got it. Our intro should be, we shouldn't have ever called it. Print intro unless introed. Our introed should be false, so we should expect described instance to receive introed. And return false. That's weird. Why was introed true? Oh, it's true because I called it in the, sneaky. We could do it a different way, right? We could say config intro. Because it's kind of nice actually, maybe. Let's see. Yeah. So it broke because we were setting it in the test. Whoopsies. But now we can make a custom. We could make another context that says when introed is true that it doesn't get true. So let's sure when already introed do and now the before now we can say true, even though I don't have to do that because I already called it. I do like being explicit here. The rest is the same. So oh yeah, actually no, that's not the same. And you're off by 1. And the subject is the same. I think it doesn't have any examples. So I think we need to, how did I do that? When already introed, expect it to receive introed and return true. And then we should move on. Oh, I know why. When you do this, those before expectations are affecting this inner context. So these need to go in here. So then like this can be the shared setup. And then we'll just have like a duplicate. I could share these. It's only 2 lines. I don't care. This should work. Stop it. Woohoo. Oh, we're typing stuff. That does not computeth. Go north. Oh, go north, does it? Yay, we're actually getting errors from the test, not spitting out the wrong stuff. So if we do dance here, dance, now it should dance. Why aren't you dancing? Did we override the config somewhere? No. Oh, it's probably still down here. Or that shouldn't have been there. If gets is dance. Wonder where that's coming from. That's only doing it once now. Curious. Is it doing it once per? It is doing it once per context. So, oh, because we didn't call from config. We never set up. We just made an instance from new when we should probably make it from the config so that we have all that stuff. Is that yucky? I don't know if that's yucky. I mean, because you still get an instance back, but now we have all those actions set up. So now it will computeth and we'll get to dance. There we go. So now we're dancing. I don't want to see the dancing in my test. This is where Kevin mentioned yesterday that we should probably not print stuff in test. And we could probably pass in, I don't remember what you called it, but we could pass in a display type or I can't remember what you called it, but yeah, so like in test, we pass in a different one that, tells it to not actually print everything. I think that is a nice to have, and we'll probably want that pretty soon. I'm just going to leave it for right now. I can't decide. I mean, I think I want to use the factory, right? Like from config is our factory. It gets everything set up. It gets all the nested objects set up. So renderer, that's what you called it. Text renderer, test renderer. Yeah. Sorry, got to talking to nobody or not showing you what he says. Yeah. So yeah, passing in a renderer in the config. That would right. So in test, we can just stomp on. We'll take the dungeon man config, pass in the test renderer, which just tells it to never print stuff. That would be cool. Let's run 3 failures in game spec. Prompt is failing. Undefined method. Oh, okay. Is this where I actually did return? Yep. So this is where I did mess with the config, which will break tests. If now that it's expecting to do something. So what we need to do in here is make sure that if there aren't any actions, we don't do anything. Rooms undefined method map for nil. Now that we're from configuring, if you mess with the config, okay. Hey, if there's a reason to make a game with no rooms, maybe that's valid, right? So you could just have one big room with a bunch of stuff that you can do in it, and there's no rooms. I don't know. Sure. That might come to bite us later if we're like, how come it's not working? Oh, it's because that's nil. But yeah, I don't want to enforce the existence of things in the config until I really know this is a must or something. Like if there's if you can make a thing that has a reason to not have rooms and it works, like okay, cool. So let's run everything. Still, oh yeah, that actually was a good. I think I like that better. To me, that means you didn't type space, right? Or like you didn't mean to pass a space. Like there is actually nothing else. I like that better. Yeah, that's still going to be broken. Okay. It's not. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now north is the message, not north as a. There we go. So we got a little bit of dancing from one of the tests. We'll have to fix that a little later. But okay. So what did we do? What did we all do? Standard. What did we do? Okay. Oh, that's not. Nope. Wrong button. Don't do it. Oh, it's really. It's like, can I commit with nothing? Changes to be committed. It's really mad. What are you doing here? Uh-oh. I broke it. My status says nothing is committed yet. I think I need to quit VS Code. Turn it back on. Go away. Yeah, okay. Whew. Okay, so in standard we moved some move back some parsing logic into the parser. You know, like turning actions into symbols, normalizing actions, and converting to symbols. We also return nil instead of empty string when no object. Where's my J? Object is present. Okay. Game. We added a bunch of stuff. Added current room to game to use later with nav. Added intro and introed to handle displaying initial text before room description. And what else? Oh yeah, handle actions. Yeah, handle create or defined methods for actions described in config. We can dance if we want to. What's the next line? We can smell, etc. Player added a writer for score. Platter. And fx specs. Cool. Get pull. I think I added a readme or something. Yeah, I'm just doing it live on main here. You can check it. Actually, I don't know if I ever showed this yet. I did put this on GitHub. So if you want to see everything I've done, I'm trying to leave, some useful breadcrumbs in the commits to just kind of describe each stream here. But this is where it lives. If you want to poke at it or help me, I say go nuts. That'll be fun, I think, to kind of merge stuff in and get it all working together. So that's there. All the tests are working. Oh, it opened up. That's why I was thinking. I didn't even see that. It opened up the commit message window, but it was like in a different tab, or I didn't notice that it had changed. So that's why it was just thinking. I always write a message there. I never just hit commit. Okay. So, I was going to say, let's try to get nav going, but I'm like at 2 hours right now. So I don't want to go. It's probably going to take another hour to even try that. So, I think I'm going to call that good for, unless someone wants to see something specific or has any questions on stuff. I did want to say too, I did start, if it sounds fun or interesting, let me channel, little meta, watching yourself. I made a Discord. If you want to join it, we can talk about programming stuff, what we're, anything. And then I also have some like channels for some of the streams, like for the dungeon crawler stream and stuff. So if you want to keep talking outside of the stream, join the Discord. I have been also putting all my previous streams on YouTube. They're not really, none of them are edited. I clipped out like the beginning and the end of, just me like sitting there waiting for people or just like waiting to get started. So if you want to check out how we started, how we got here, I have put these kind of just in order here, and there's a little description about like what I kind of did in each one, but I'm going to go through actually and add chapter markers It's going to take a while because they're 2 hours each. But yeah, going to take some time to put some like chapter markers in there so you can skip around and fast forward to the interesting bits. Yeah. Thanks for being here. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.